Hey guys, welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we're playing the real deal Bayonetta on the Xbox 360. The reason why I say the real deal, because I previously recorded Bayonetta on the PlayStation 3, and that was a botched up hack job of a port, and this is the real deal. The one on the PlayStation actually only runs at 30 frames per second. This one actually runs up to 60 frames, has more vibrant colors, better graphics, better textures, yada yada yada. Some other company did it. It was a good game for what it was, but compared to this it sucks balls. So let's play. I mean, whatever. I guess it's not taboo to play a game after you say it sucks balls. Let's just continue. Play as normal because I've never played on easy, but I think it's like some joke or whatever where like the game essentially plays itself for you. So this is a hack and slash game. You play as the witch Bayonetta or whatever, and she can go in between like the other side, the netherworld, whatever the hell this game calls it or whatever, but she can see ghosts and angels and demons and all that shit and go in between worlds. She tries to save the day because she's a good witch and she has butterfly glasses, and this is probably the most flamboyant game I've ever played in my entire life. I imagine this game conjure up similar feelings that you would probably have while watching a drags race, and that's fine because it looks cool, it's flashy, it runs good. I'm curious with YouTube now doing 60 frames per second if this will show off, because I'm not recording with HDMI because I have no way to record with HDMI. I'm doing it with component cables, so this game looks even better with HDMI. If you were curious, I don't think you can really die on this part, so I'm not really concerned. There is a sequel of Bayonetta coming out exclusively on the Wii U, which is kind of cool that they're making a sequel to Bayonetta, because this game didn't sell terribly well. I partially blame that on it getting little to no advertisement. But it's a great game if you like these kind of action games, and it's super flamboyant. I love the art style, and I don't know, just look at it, for crying out loud. This game kind of speaks for itself. I can't, besides the genre it is, I really can't compare this to anything else because it has like absurdness to it. It's over the top, gory, flamboyant. It tries to be cute at times in a weird way, and it just oozes personality. So, the difference between this and the PlayStation, first of all, you could just check out my PS3 video. This, I believe I have two. I might have covered this one slightly, but not to the extent I'm covering it on this video. I might have had a side-by-side comparison video, I don't remember. But I noticed I had two videos on here already because I went to double check to make sure I didn't record the Xbox version before, but I was hoping now that YouTube does up to 60 frames per second, it would record the extra frames of animation to give you a more realistic feeling of like how this game runs. Because first of all, if you don't have internet access and you have only the PlayStation 3, you're not going to enjoy Bayonetta nearly as much as you would with it being patched, because the patch allows the game to be downloaded on the hard drive, which should have been a requirement before, because that helps the load times. Because when you don't have the patch, even the menus and shit have to load, and the load times are ridiculously long, and it's kind of a pain in the ass because you're probably going to find yourself dying a lot in this game, because this game gets pretty hardcore later on, even though this looks like a Sailor Moon fan's wet dream. Not that cute means that it's necessarily going to be easy. It's just the look and style's kind of deceiving, and then all of a sudden you see decapitations and people being cut in half and the whole hell and aspect. We're skipping the story. Although, you know what, I'm going to leave the story on a little while. That, and I pushed A and nothing happened, but I'm going to sound like I'm generous because, you know, what the hey. But this has a weird cutscene thing where, like, it shows and pans in between the people, but the people talk, but their mouths don't actually move and stuff, and it's kind of weird. And that's very unique to this game. Now, coming on the Wii U, as I was saying before, it could be, well, it's awesome that they're also letting you download the first game. I'll give them that. The Wii U just doesn't have a hardcore fan base, and Bayonetta is made for hardcore gamers, and I know they're like, oh, it's garnering it, but if Bayonetta is a system seller, then people would have bought this version like crazy, you know? So I don't think it's going to help out the system, and I think it's going to alienate the people who like Bayonetta and stuff like that. The people who buy Bayonetta and have PlayStation 4 or Xbox One aren't going to run out and buy a Wii U just for Bayonetta. I'm sorry. There might be a few people, but it's not a system seller. System sellers on the Wii U are always going to be the Nintendo games. This is a great game. This is probably the third time I've purchased Bayonetta. I like it a lot. It's a shame that unless the Wii U becomes like dirt cheap at some crazy like special or something, I don't think that I'm ever going to get the opportunity to experience Bayonetta 2, which is a shame because I really would like to see where the sequel goes, and I think it's more suited for the Xbox 360 or even PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3, they actually gave it a proper port, which I think if it came out on the PlayStation 3, they would, because that stirred up a lot of controversy. I'm going to oversave the game I just say. Brilliant. Alright, how do I get out of this? Just cancel? You can tell I played this game a lot. I have, but I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing eventually. This has that weird camera control that's reversed. I don't like that. We don't need to see this, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to see this if I wanted to see it, but we don't want to see it. We've seen it all before. I'm gonna shoot you the PlayStation version. We just want to see this game run really fast. I like the loading screens in between levels. This isn't one of them, but it's similar, where it gives you an opportunity to practice your moves. I do also, for whatever weird reason, adore the Japanese J-pop soundtrack. I don't listen to Japanese J-pop. I don't know why I have to say Japanese J-pop. The J stands for Japanese in J-pop, so that's pretty redundant, but I'm pretty... R trigger to dodge. Okay. I'm pretty redundant to begin with when it comes to my commentaries. So, one of the things in this game that it encourages you to do in order to survive, it actually helps. When you dodge something, it slows back. It slows time, which is what they call witch time, and I failed at it. And then once you dodge an enemy, it slows down time, and then you wail on the enemy, and then you push back for the next tutorial level. So the main reason I'm just showing you the levels I've already shown you for is just to show you how different it is. The colors are just more vibrant. The frame rate is like double on the Xbox version. It plays better. It feels better. It feels like a different game, kind of like if you play a Battlefield 3 on the PlayStation 3 versus the PlayStation 4. I mean, it's not that drastic of a change. And you could tell this game's made by Sega, even though it's supposed to be Halos, it look like Sonic rings, at least to me. And as I was saying, the reason why I don't listen to J-pop, but I just feel like it's just so fitting for a game so weird and absurd. That's why I like it. And it's actually a really good action game, or whatever you would consider this 3D Devil May Cry, God of War action game genre. Like I said, I think this game probably would conjure up feelings of maybe the same thing as watching a drag race, because this game's just so absurd and flamboyant. It's great. I've never personally been to a drag race before, but I remember one time I was in Key West and there were the drag queens walking out of like one of the clubs in Key West, because there's like a lot of drag shows there. They were dressed up like Playboy bunnies, and it was pretty unique, because even though they do have a drag show here, it's downtown somewhere. I'd say the name of the bar, but knowing how out of sync I've been with everything going on as of lately due to my anti-socialness, not anti-socialness, just I haven't really spent a lot of time partying downtown in a while. I don't know, you just sort of grow up a little bit. I mean, maybe every once in a while, but anyway, I never really saw anything like that before, so it was kind of cool to see something so different and celebrated and all that stuff. It's just kind of cool. What was I gonna do? So I look at those drag race, those guys aren't really even dressing up like women. They're almost dressing up like caricatures or cartoon character versions of women. They're just so flamboyant. And I kind of feel like this game is almost like a flamboyant caricature of like an action game. And it's just so absurd. I love it. I know Bayonetta is not a guy in drag. She has really weird proportions though. If you look at her, her legs are like 15 feet long, it looks like. I remember there was controversy, sorry, I don't know why I'll lisp it up there for a second. Controversy about her being all like sexed up and stuff. And come to find out, the publisher of the magazine kind of felt stupid because a woman actually designed the character of Bayonetta. Just because she thought that those proportions and her character and everything would just look cool. That's it. Because they were blaming like guys for creating women and sexing them up, and they just thought that the character looked unique because she has very unhuman proportions. Like if she tried to walk into a public place in real life like that, her spinal cord would probably collapse on herself and she would die on the spot, or like be in a wheelchair with one of those little straws that they have that they steer around with it in there, and she'd like have to type on that Stephen Hawking's thing, and once she was done typing with her little straw and their little prod or whatever, it would say in a robot voice. I used to be in this really cool video game called Bayonetta that was really great on the Xbox but kind of mediocre on the PlayStation 3, but not a terrible game. And I have a sequel coming out on Wii U, and nobody's probably going to buy it, which sucks, and I'm gonna miss out again. Hopefully I'm wrong on this. Okay, I get it. She's got to do her little machine gun twirly thing. Okay. I wish this tutorial was optional. always get nervous with games where I have to whip around the analog stick real fast. I'm always scared I'm gonna mess up the analog stick faster. I don't think that's the case. I think the worst thing you can do with the analog stick is just pushing it as hard as you possibly can and maybe flicking it, which some games do require you to do. I'm just very particular about analog sticks. I'm glad I put these grips on it though, because sometimes my hands sweat if it's like a really intense action game, and my thumbs would be slipping, especially on the PlayStation controllers that don't have any nubs or any kind of texture to really make your thumb grasp it. I mean, they have like a rough texture or whatever. I don't want to play this tutorial anymore, you fuckers. You know, that looks cooler than it is useful. My witch time is off. If I play this game a little more, I'll get used to it. I got pretty good at this game. Hopefully this time I'll be able to finish it. Well, this game gets... The learning curve on this game for an action title is pretty decent. These games are always meant to be somewhat difficult. I also have the last two Ninja Gaiden games. I know they're going to be hard as balls to finish. Even though balls are soft, unless they have cancer or something, then they can tend to be hard. I'm not a ball expert beside my own. If you're curious, I'm not a girl with a really deep voice. This is a guy recording it, so I'm only talking about my own. I'm not a doctor, so if I was a doctor, I probably could speak of others. Alright, let's go. I don't want to elaborate on that anymore. I just feel like no matter how much I elaborate on it, I'll just dig myself deeper into a hole that I don't want to explain in comments. Yeah, see, they talk without actually moving. It just has their gestures. That guy's like an off-brand Joe Pesci. Skip. Well, yes, I want to skip this cinematic. And can you fuck up that car worse than it's already fucked up? I don't, you know, as many times I've played the game, I've never attempted to fuck up the car more. The way it's shaking, it looks like you might be able to. Which time? Excellent. There's a lot of little social cues to let you know when they attack if you pay attention. But if you're like me and recording a commentary at the same time, there's a good chance you'll miss it. Alright, that guy is kicking my ass. So let me get rid of these little dudes first. These are the game's interpretation of what angels look like. I like the character designs. If a game ever deserves an art book, this one certainly does. But this is a very niche game, which is a shame that Nintendo is publishing Bayonetta 2, so we probably won't get to see it on other consoles, which is a shame. It would look really cool on next gen, but you know, I'd be happy for a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 version, as long as it wasn't dumbed down. I mean, at least you'd get a version as good as the Wii U, if not better. The Wii U's technically supposed to be more powerful, but unless it's developed by Nintendo, usually there's lesser ports on the Wii U. Alright, so that was Bayonetta on the Xbox 360. If you have a choice between the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 version, no question, get the Xbox 360 version. Also, I think the Xbox 360 version's a little bit cheaper because it sold better, because it was the better version to get. Now, don't get me wrong, the PlayStation 3 version is not unplayable. It's just the Xbox 360 version is by far better because it has better graphics, better loading times, and a better frame rate. PlayStation 3's improved with the patch. If you get the PlayStation 3 version, make sure you have internet access and download the patch because it eliminates a lot of the load time issues, and the game actually performs a little bit better. But on the Xbox 360 version has more vibrant colors, better graphics, better control because of the frame rate and the responsiveness, etc., etc. No questions, hands down, the Xbox 360 version, but PlayStation 3 is your only choice. I would definitely give it a try if you like this type of genre of game. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please click the thumbs up, and if you wouldn't mind, leave a comment, positive or negative. Just if you decide to leave a negative one, make sure it's constructive. I can't even talk. Make sure it's constructive criticism, and don't be a dick, because nobody likes an asshole that also happens to be a dick. Like, if you're a combination, you're basically scum. If you're just an asshole, you're still really not liked all that much. But if you're a combination, I mean, man, watch out. You might have people shooting at you or something. Not me personally. Maybe somebody else that has anger issues. But, yeah, if you like this video and you haven't subscribed, please feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos. If you didn't like this video, check out my other videos. There's only like 1 billion of them, and I'm sure one of the commentaries I do out there is good enough, and you could subscribe and just said you did it because you succumb to peer pressure or some bullshit like that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you on the next video. Alright guys, later.